form. AD will be on the bench in street clothes. He's recovering from a strained abductor muscle. AD has played only 3 quarters for the Mavericks. In 4 games with the Lakers, Doncic is averaging 19 points and 5.8 assists. 7 p.m. tip-off tonight. If you don't have a ticket, you can catch the game live on TNT. The UCLA women's basketball team moved up to number 2 in this week's Associated Press Top 25 poll. Texas is number 1. USC is 4th. UCLA and USC are a combined 51-3. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
There's new reaction following the Trump administration's sweeping efforts to cut the federal workforce.
Fired but not forgotten. The Testimony Project. Bearing witness, breaking silence, building community. KBLA Talk 1580 is committed to amplifying the voices of black federal workers impacted by the mass firings. Rooted in the black tradition of testimony, this initiative ensures that those who served us are not erased from history. Through firsthand accounts, investigative storytelling, and community-driven dialogue, we intend to expose injustice, preserve truth, and demand accountability. If you or someone you know has been forced out of federal employment due to the mass firings, please contact us at info@smileyaudiomedia.com or via the open mic feature on the KBLA 1580 app. We want to hear from you and share your story. KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Live from historic Limerick Park in Los Angeles, California. I'm Tavis Smiley, and I'm so glad to see you and me back in stride again. Before we get started with today's show, let me invite you to follow me on Facebook and Instagram at The Real Tavis Smiley, and get updates on X, that's formerly Twitter, at Tavis Smiley. By the way, should you miss any part of today's program or want to catch up on previous shows, you can always visit thetavismiley.com. That's thetavismiley.com, or wherever you get your podcast, and listen to the Tavis Smiley podcast version of this live program at your leisure. Another great show on tap for you today in our second hour.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white. The bright, blessed day, the dark, sacred night. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Two-time Grammy winner and director of research collections for the Louis Armstrong House Museum, Ricky Riccardi, on his new book, Stomp Off, Let's Go, The Early Years of Louis Armstrong. The book tells the revelatory origin story of one of America's most beloved musicians. How did Louis Armstrong become Louis Armstrong? We'll talk about it today in hour 2 with Ricky Riccardi and his new book, Stomp Off, Let's Go, The Early Years of Louis Armstrong. In our third hour,
And now Public Access presents Men on Films.
Hello, I'm Blaine Edwards, and I'm Antoine Merriweather, and welcome to Men on Films. We're going to be reviewing the latest films from a male point of view. First up is that controversial movie, Do the Right Thing. Now, I really like little Spike Lee's courage in making this film. I especially like the way he mixed the racial tension with the violence in order to give his message, do the right thing. Come on out the closet. Don't be afraid to be who you is. Black, white, or whatever. Ain't that the truth, Ruth? Now I'd like to talk about an exciting new film, Karate Kid Part 3. It's all about men working out their problems in a very physical way. It was all so primitive. And you know, I really enjoyed Mr. Miyagi, played by little Pat Morita. Ooh, and that Ralph Macchio. 3 words, fabulous. Boy, I hope I look that good when I'm 40. Stop. But I have to disagree. I disagree. There's just too much violence in this movie. Don't get mad.
You better give me back my scarf.
It's a career conversation with comedian and actor David Allen Greer, who joins us live in studio today in our third hour as we approach the 35th anniversary, believe it or not, the 35th anniversary of In Living Color classic stuff. David has yet another hit show under his belt. It's called St. Denis Medical on NBC. Take a listen.
What are the nurses supposed to do in the meantime? All the patient information's on the computers.
You're going to have to practice medicine the way they did before computers were invented, okay? Ron, you know about that, right?
Yeah, we used to drill holes in patients' heads to release evil spirits, but hey, that's the 80s for you.
Who's the schmuck?
Oh, sorry. I'm Matthew, everybody. I'm the new, is schmuck floor nurse?
Oh, boy.
Well, I'm the new schmuck. They didn't have my size scrubs. But,
Joyce, our computers are too old, okay? They need to be replaced, not just fixed.
Look, we just don't have the money right now for a whole new computer system.
But we have money in the budget for your fancy 3D mammography machine?
Okay. I was an oncologist for 20 years, but now that I'm a hospital administrator, I'm battling different kinds of cancers, like cynicism, pessimism, people questioning my judgment because they think I'm spending money on things we don't need. Those attitudes are the real cancers.
It's St. Denis Medical, that is, on NBC. David Allen Greer, the star of the show, he joins us today in studio in our final hour for, again, a career conversation. Should be a lot of fun in hour 3. In this first hour, though, let's talk politics with our regular contributor, the noted civil rights attorney and towering public intellectual, Connie Rice. Before I get to Connie, let me just frame at least how I want to commence this hour with Connie, and then we will jump from there. There's a story you may have seen in the New York Times. Fascinating stuff. The first story of its kind that I've read in the day since Donald Trump was inaugurated for a second time. And if you didn't read it, I want you to read it because I want you to see if you process it the same way that I did. The title of the piece is called What 11 Black Voters Think About Trump's Actions in His First Month. What 11 Black Voters Think About Trump's Actions in His First Month. Let me read the first 2 or 3 paragraphs of this story. When we come forward, I'll let Connie loose for the hour. I quote now from this story in the New York Times. The first few weeks of President Trump's frenetic second term, including sweeping actions to end federal diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, have mostly unfurled during the month of February, when the nation recognizes and celebrates Black history each year. For Black Americans around the country, the new administration's actions to undo diversity programs while vowing to celebrate Black history have felt swift, if not entirely unexpected. Some Black voters interviewed said they anticipated that Mr. Trump's actions would be destabilizing. Those who supported him embraced his quick changes. Those who voted against him and some who stayed home last November were aghast. Most were paying close enough attention, though some said they felt the need to just look away. Sense of what Black voters are thinking about Trump's actions in his first month. I will ask this particular Black voter what she thinks Connie Rice when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
From California to the Carolinas, everybody's listening to Tavis. More when we come forward.
This is an ad by BetterHelp Online Therapy. When it comes to relationships, we often hear about the red flags we should avoid, but it's just as important to focus on the green flags. Think about how you want a relationship to feel, one where your boundaries are respected and you're encouraged to be your best self. If you're not sure what that looks like, therapy can help you identify those qualities so you can embody the green flag energy yourself and find it in others. Because whether you're dating, married, or building a friendship, it's time to form relationships that love you back. BetterHelp connects you to a diverse network of over 30,000 therapists worldwide with expertise in a wide range of issues, from depression and anxiety to work and relationships. It's 100% online and sign-up only takes a few minutes. Find your green flag energy with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/ABC Radio today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/ABC Radio.
I have a dream today. They said it couldn't be done. They said we wouldn't make it. But history had other plans. This February, KBLA Talk 1580 celebrates the dreamers, the doers, and the breakthrough makers of Black History Month. Your station, your stories. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZzzQuil.
ZzzQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZzzQuil nights. Explore our products at ZzzQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
During tax season, your info travels lots of places you can't control.
W-2 arriving from payroll platform 3.
Everything criminals need to steal your identity is on your W-2.
Last call for accountant and home office, 1 minute.
LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points per second.
Tax preparation data centers with service to IRS. All aboard.
If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Let's get back to more of this rich dialogue with Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Connie Rice. So, Connie, you heard me read the first few paragraphs of that story in the Times, which I'm sure, knowing you read anyway. But this does not sound like a unified front in Black America. Some of us are embracing the quickness of his changes. Some of us are aghast. Some of us are paying close attention. Some of us are looking away. If there's a Trump 2.0, there must be, to my mind, a resistance 2.0. But once again, this does not sound like a united front for me inside of Black America. What say you?
We don't need a united front.
Okay.
We're not going to get a united front. We're not. That can't be the goal. Well, listen. Here's the deal. Right now, the defense. Okay, so we've got the Huns sacking Rome, right?
Mm-hmm.
the Goths are sacking D.C., right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's a blitzkrieg. They're carrying out Project 2025. Luckily, the lawyers, way before Election Day, once we got a hold, we started planning on the cases, trying to guess where they were. We kind of underestimated the blitzkrieg of slashing so many people, shutting down USAID. We didn't have that in mind, but we knew there was going to be a blitzkrieg. It was going to get done in the first 100 days, and that federal employees. So there are like 70 cases right now. The first line of skirmish is in the courts. Folks trying to, I don't want to see, and I'm going to go to the Image Awards and, pretend like stuff's okay. That is a normal reaction to having trauma slapped in your face like that election and seeing what's going on. But for those of us who understand that there's a big battle brewing, you got to get ready. It's kind of like stand up and stand by.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, the only line of defense that you can do, because Congress is laying down and folks put the GOP in charge of everything, so it's the courts. And there are about 70 cases. We'll see how those cases go, Tavis. At the point of the Rubicon, the point of no return, will be when Trump and his minions and apartheid boy with his chainsaw running around, cutting everything. Those folks, when they get told by the United States Supreme Court, stand down, stop this, it's unconstitutional to take away birthright citizenship, it's unconstitutional to fire all the inspectors general so that you can run rampant with white-collar crime. It's when the Roberts Court tells the White House, we interpret the laws, you must obey us, and Trump says no, that's it. That's the end of the rule of law for anybody. And that's when you take it to the streets. So I appreciate folks and their personal psychology and where they are personally and how, fair. I'm on, I told my relatives, take me off the threads. I'm not interested in your psychological needs and your trauma. That's all important to you. Right now, we better be getting ready for the fire next time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You say the fire next time, and my mind immediately went to our mutual friend, the late, great Harry Belafonte. And you know this story as well as I do because Mr. B was fond of telling it. He and Dr. King were in Mr. B's living room in his New York apartment many, many years ago. And Martin said to Harry that, Harry, for all that we have done, for all the progress we've made, I now fear that we have entered into a burning house. This is a couple years after the I Have a Dream speech. I say all the time, King gives I Have a Dream speech in August of 63. He's not dead until April of 68. He did live 5 years after the March on Washington. Most of us think he gave that speech, and I think we assume he died the next day because the speech is such a benchmark in his career. But he lives 5 years after that March on Washington, I Have a Dream speech. And over those 5 years, he becomes disillusioned in a variety of ways. I try to get at this in my book, Death of the King, about the last year of King's life. But near the end, he's talking to Mr. B, and he says to Harry, Harry, I fear that we've entered into a burning house. And Mr. B looks at Dr. King and says, Martin, if that is true, then what do you suggest we do? And King says, we have to become firemen. That's what King says to Mr. B. I raised that issue, I recall, some years ago on one of our annual State of the Black Union symposia that everybody watched in February for all the years that I moderated those all-day sessions on C-SPAN. And that issue comes up, and Minister Farrakhan was on the stage. I think Savior's Day was last week. Minister Farrakhan was on the stage, and he recounted that story because Mr. Belafonte, Mr. B, had told that story to Farrakhan as well. And Farrakhan shared that story with the audience that day, 10,000 plus people in this arena, millions watching on C-SPAN around the world. And Mr. Farrakhan's, the brother minister's conclusion was that we ought to let this sucker burn down. Just let it burn down and rebuild something new altogether. So King says, to your point about get ready for the fire next time, Connie, King says we got to become firemen to Mr. B. Mr. Farrakhan says let the sucker burn down. We need to rebuild something anew. So since you went there, I'm following you. So we're getting ready for the fire next time. But what do we do? How do we address it? How do we contain it? How do we fight it? You tell me.
Well, I think it's a matter of sequencing. You're fighting until the house falls down, and then you can build something new. But if all you've got is that house, and folks have invited in the arsonist, and he's lighting the fire, all right, and your kids are still in that house, you fight to save that house and put the fire out. If you can't do that, you at least get folks out of it long enough. If it is going to go down, then you got to be ready, and you're still going to have to fight. It'll be a civil war at that point, even if they do burn it down. Say they sack Rome. You're still going to have to do a fight. So we got to get ready for all of the possibilities. I don't think it's going to go there to actual kinetic warfare in the streets. This is the biggest assault on the constitutional framework since the Civil War. And if we have to go there, we need to be ready for that psychologically and not be shocked and, twirling our pearls and talking about, gathering shadows when we're in the middle of a hurricane. I'm like, could you please understand what frame we're in? So I think we're in a frame where you could actually give credit to both strategies, because I think we're going to need both of them. And to get ready for them, well, I know I'm ready. I'm already, helping with the litigation and so forth and so on.
Mm-hmm.
But what I want the listeners to understand is we don't have the luxury of navel gazing. We don't have the luxury of doing listening tours, and we're in the fire now. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
It came. You thought everything was okay. It's not. Not the first time we've miscalculated, and we've been in much worse situations than this. At least our great grandparents and our grandparents did.
Yeah.
They faced much worse than this. If we can't fight this, and people are talking about going to Costa Rica, I said, y'all can go to Costa Rica if you want to. They got snakes there. I'm not going. I'm staying right here. My family built this country. We couldn't have been created anywhere else in the world except here. This is our country. And I'm fighting for it. Other folks can leave. Do what's your conscience and what you need to do. But it's like I said, Tubman never quit. Okay,
Yeah.
Tubman never quit. We have to stand up.
Yeah, I do want to check your. I want to gauge your read. One final thing on this piece that we were referencing a moment ago in the New York Times. What 11 black voters think about Trump's actions in his first month gives us a sense, broadly speaking, of the range of opinion inside of Black America. Again, some are aghast. Some of us are paying close attention. Others are sick of it. We got fatigue. We're kind of looking away. There's that other group, though, that are embracing his quick changes. I found myself in a conversation about this days ago before this New York Times piece came out. A conversation, Connie, about the speed at which he has moved. And while I disagree vehemently with pretty much everything that Donald Trump says or does, I must admit I have been to your point, navel gazing. I've been somewhat trying to find the right word here. Not shocked, not surprised, but it's thrown me off my square a bit in the sense that even though you don't like his agenda, there's nothing that stopped Obama from moving with the same speed if he'd chosen to. Nothing that would have stopped Joe Biden from moving with the same speed if he had chosen to. I could go on. You take my point. What do you make of the fact that he knew what his agenda was? He told us what the agenda was. He got in and he ran his play. It's hard, for all the trouble it may get me into again, it's hard to be mad at somebody who gets in and goes to work running their play as quickly as he has. Again, let me be clear, I don't like none of the plays he's called, but the speed with which he has moved to address the agenda that he promised he was going to address, I don't know, Connie.
No, I understand exactly what you're saying. The only thing stopping Obama and Biden was the Constitution and the laws. So if you've got to be willing, if you want to blow it up, you can do this. And he's set the IEDs and he's blowing up the FBI and he's blowing up everything, firing everybody. Most of it's illegal. About 70% of it is illegal.
Sure.
So if you're willing to violate your oath when you raise your hand and say you will defend the Constitution of the United States, then you can be a steamroller and you can go right and crush the entire framework. And hey, hats off. You said you're going to do what you're going to do. You said it was vengeance. It is vengeance. Good. Now, the rest of us, if we want rule of law, because I don't know what folks are thinking, you think we're going to benefit from a new system that's been developed by an apartheid-bred billionaire and a white nationalist president? Well, hey, hats off to you if you think that's going to actually be a better edifice than the flawed one we're trying not to have burned down.
Mm-hmm.
So I get it. No, they know what they want. They've got their blueprint, Project 2025, and they're carrying it out. What's bad is that the folks who are saying they embrace this, yes, move fast, break things. But the problem with that is the folks who are saying it, they don't know what's being broken.
Mm-hmm.
So they like the action, but they don't understand that he's not breaking stuff to help them.
Mm-hmm.
He's breaking stuff. This is all about making sure that Elon Musk can get another $28 billion, because he's got $28 billion in our money with his Defense Department contracts.
Mm-hmm.
This is about the oligarchs fighting over control of the financial levers of the country, control over actually taking capitalism beyond casket capitalism and making it a complete oligarchy. This is about, because those tax cuts, they're not going to working class folks. They're not going to poor folks in Nickerson Gardens. They're going to very, very, very rich people. And that's what this is about. He's about to cut Social Security, cut Medicaid. And if that's what folks want, then good for them.
So I'm not going to lie, Connie. I'm just going to be honest about it. I have had nightmares and flashbacks about Obama's first term. When Obama comes in, he has the White House, he has the House, and he has the Senate. And he did not move with this kind of speed. And I'm not suggesting, I think you and I may agree, may disagree on this point. To move swiftly doesn't mean you're breaking the law. I'm just saying that he had the House, the Senate, and the White House. And there was no effort to move this swiftly. It's like they take 6 months to find out what the bathroom is. Now, Trump knew where the bathroom was. He'd been there the first time. It was Obama's first time in. I get it. And I'm not demonizing Obama. I'm just thinking aloud. What happens when Democrats get the reins of power if they move with the same deliberate speed, pardon the pun, that we see Donald Trump moving with? What would happen?
I agree with you 100%. 100%. I was talking about the illegality.
No, I get you.
And you don't want to do that.
No, I get you. No.
But here's the deal.
Yeah.
Here's what Obama could have done swiftly.
Right.
Okay? If you have both houses, you plug all the holes in the Voting Rights Act and you get that fixed.
Exactly. That's my point.
Days.
That's my point.
First 100 days, okay? All right? So that I could have done that the first week.
Yes.
You had the right lawyers in the White House.
Yes.
All right? You plug that up. You get with John Lewis, and you absolutely pass the legislation that changed the Justice and Policing Act that Karen Bass couldn't get, got out of the House. But that after George Floyd, we could have plugged the holes. He could have passed the anti-lynching bills. Okay, really? They block it. Since they can't lynch, they now block the laws and make lynching illegal. Really?
Yeah.
I could give you a drop-down menu of the stuff that they could have plugged. Okay? A whole legal pad of stuff the Democrats should have pushed through fast and furious.
Now we're on the same page. That's all I'm saying. I just want folks. I'm only raising because I want Democrats to take a lesson. If y'all ever get back in power again, this is the agenda. If you get in power again and you got the House and you got the Senate, you run your play, and you don't take 6, 8, 9, 10 years to figure it out. That's what I respect, in air quotes, about the deliberate speed here. And Democrats could have done this and did not. Let me just read something for you right quick, and I'll let Connie unpack it when we come forward. This is a piece from Robert Reich, former Labor Secretary. What Trump is really trying to do. What is occurring now in the U.S. has very little to do with making the government more efficient or rooting out incompetence or depoliticizing parts of government that should be nonpartisan. Nor is it motivated by Trump's desire to get rid of DEI and woke and weaponize. The real story is this. Trump is rapidly gaining a personal monopoly on the use of force. This is his most fundamental goal. This is the essence of tyranny. When we come forward, we'll unpack all the moves he's making at the Department of Defense, the Justice Department, Homeland Security, the Inspectors General, the FBI, that Connie referenced earlier. And the move here, as Robert Reich describes it, is a monopoly on the use of force, and this is the essence of tyranny. That's the goal. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
This is getting good.
Yeah, man.
Tavis Smiley continues when we come forward.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first at 888-ALLSTATE or allstate.com. Like to check your sunroof is closed first before driving through the car wash.
Whoa. No. Wait, whoa.
Yeah, checking first is smart. So if you want to save money, check Allstate first at 888-ALLSTATE or allstate.com. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary. Terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 things you should know with BIN News. The FBI arrested Seth Andrea Gregory, who was planning a mass casualty attack on police officers in Corpus Christi, Texas. Gregory's plan was similar to a 2016 Dallas attack that killed 5 officers and wounded 7. Yosemite National Park workers in California protested recent cuts by President Trump by hanging an upside-down American flag at El Capitan, signaling distress. A maintenance mechanic says they wanted to highlight issues at national parks. The former Secret Service agent who shielded First Lady Jacqueline Kennedy during the assassination of President John F. Kennedy in 1963 has died. The Secret Service says Clint Hill died at home on Monday at the age of 93. And Wicked stars Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo will perform at the Academy Awards this weekend. The Broadway musical adaptation is up for 10 Oscars, including Best Picture. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
The CONCACAF Nations League finals arrive at SoFi Stadium March 20th to 23rd. USA versus Panama, followed by Canada versus Mexico. Get your tickets now on Ticketmaster. For more information, visit CONCACAFNationsLeague.com/tickets.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
It's going to be an emotional night tonight for Lakers star Luka Doncic. First game for Doncic against his former team, the Dallas Mavericks, tonight at Crypto.com. Doncic played his first 6 seasons in the NBA with the Mavericks before he was traded to the Lakers on February 8th for Anthony Davis. This will be AD's first game against the Lakers since the trade, although he won't be in a Mavericks uniform. AD will be on the bench in street clothes. He's recovering from a strained abductor muscle. AD has played only 3 quarters for the Mavericks. In 4 games with the Lakers, Doncic is averaging 19 points and 5.8 assists. 7 p.m. tip-off tonight. If you don't have a ticket, you can catch the game live on TNT. The UCLA women's basketball team moved up to number 2 in this week's Associated Press Top 25 poll. Texas is number 1. USC is 4th. UCLA and USC are a combined 51-3. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
I have a dream today.
The road to freedom wasn't paved with just big moments. It was built day to day, step by step, voice by voice. This February, experience Black History Month through the stories that shape Los Angeles and beyond. KBLA Talk 1580, where Black history lives. This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio that's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
If you or someone you know is affected by the Los Angeles wildfires, you are not alone. No matter how sad, scared, or heartbroken you feel, CalHope is here for you and all those affected by the devastating wildfires. Find free, safe, and confidential mental health support at calhope.org.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down, get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver Card, so let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver Card is at table 27, and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver Card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Sometimes he fails at fitting in,
but we're okay with that.
You're inside the Tavis Smiley Show.
You are indeed with Connie Rice. Let me pick up on the point I made a moment ago, Connie. Reading now from Robert Reich, a powerful piece he wrote for Substack, as I recall. I read so much stuff every day, trying to get ready for this show. But his argument is that we got our eye on the wrong ball. It's not about Trump's efforts, that is, not about making government more efficient, not about rooting out incompetence, not about depoliticizing parts of government, not motivated, again, by wanting to get rid of DEI or woke or weaponize law enforcement or establish white Christian nationalism or even wreak vengeance on his enemies. Those are all the things that we talk about in media all day long. But Reich argues that this is the real story, that in every part of government that involves the use of force, the military, the investigation and prosecution of crimes, the authority to arrest, the capacity to hold individuals in jail, he's putting people in power who are more loyal to him than they are to the United States. Look at all the purging that's going on right now at the highest levels of the Defense Department, the Justice Department, Homeland Security, the Inspectors General, the FBI. On Friday, as we all know, he fired the African-American Air Force General, C.Q. Brown Jr., chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the highest-ranking military officer, as well as principal military advisor to the president, Secretary of Defense, National Security Council, and all that was followed by the firings of the Chief of Naval Operations, Admiral Lisa Franchetti, and Vice Chief of Staff of the Air Force, General Jim Slife. On and on this goes. So the media, Reich argues, Connie, sees all these firings as a campaign to rid the military of leaders who support diversity and equity in the ranks. But that's not what Reich says it's all about. These firings are part of a campaign to purge the government of leaders who are not totally loyal to him. It's about gaining a personal monopoly on the use of force. That's the fundamental goal, and that, Reich argues, is the essence of tyranny. To that, Connie Rice, you say what?
100% right. When Trump starts misquoting Napoleon Bonaparte, talking about he needs to be an emperor, and I don't know how much clearer it can be. Mm-hmm. He tried this in his first term, but he got stopped by folks who believe in keeping their oath to the Constitution. Their loyalty was to the mission and to defending democracy and keeping the country safe, okay? That's what the military ought to do. He is trying to get his own Praetorian army. And the Praetorian Guard was loyal to the emperor. Mm-hmm. And so my dad always said, my dad was a soldier and a cold warrior, and he said if the Tim McVeighs, who blew up the Mirror Building, and the 3 Percenters and the Proud Boys in the military, and that's how they get their weapons. They steal it from the bases, and then they go out and do their exercises to figure out how to do insurrections. But if those folks get in charge of the military, and he said all you need is 15%. 3%, if they're willing to die, they can blow enough stuff. That's why they call themselves the 3 Percenters. There's one militia group that calls. That's what that means. Mm. But if Trump gets 15 to 20% of the military who are willing to ignore the Constitution, that's all he needs. He's got the Secret Service. He will control the American military. That's why he keeps talking about using the military to shoot Black Lives Matter demonstrators. He wanted to be able to hone that power, that military power, to be able to get rid of people who were making him look bad and who angered his ego. So Reich is 1,000% right. You're 1,000% right. This is about a power grab that is going to get militarized. They made the mistake of having people who weren't loyal to him. Remember, he tried to clear out the top levels of DOD, mm-hmm. and the head of the CIA, Gina Haspel, called up Milley and said they're getting ready to do a coup. Mm-hmm. Well, it was General Milley, the head of the CIA, and folks in the Pentagon who shut that down. He's getting rid of all those folks, and he's going to put the puppy killer and the sex trafficker who make up his cabinet. He's going to put them in charge, mm-hmm. and they will order the military to shoot down demonstrators. If we find ourselves on a plane having to go to Washington after he tells the Roberts Court, I don't have to obey you, I'm saving the country, therefore there are no laws that apply to me, now make me do it. When he controls the marshals, he controls the military. That's what he's building up for. He's signaling to the court, you can't stop me. And why can't they stop him? Because, as you said, he has the guns.
Yeah. You talked earlier about the fire next time, so clearly Robert Reich sees the fire next time as tyranny. And I think both you and I agree that tyranny can't prevail over people who refuse to succumb to it. I think we agree on that. And yet these efforts and this strategy, I think, is really testing the courage and the resolve of everyday people. And I'm not going to lie, I'm not so sure what happens if this pace continues to the courage and the resolve of fellow citizens, Connie.
I agree, and this is what I'm watching. Carville said, "Play possum for a while." He's doling out a whole lot of rope that's about to strap him up and trip him up. I hope that's right. We're doing the cases just as a spike strip, right? The real battle is going to come if middle America, white America, this can't be done by African Americans. This isn't South Africa. Mm-hmm. We're in the United States, and African Americans can't do this by ourselves. So if middle Americans in suburban Chicago and farm country and in red states, if they want a wrecking ball, if they want him to take that chainsaw to do brain surgery, if they really want to slash their own throats, then tyranny is going to come, and we will be at the bottom of that well. But what I'm starting to see is white people wake up. They're getting woke, and you saw it when the GOP folks went back to their towns, and folks got shouted down. Well, a lot of and did you see the article where in a lot of very, very 70% vote for Trump, real red districts, mm-hmm. Trump flags are coming down, mm-hmm. and it isn't because they think he's won. I don't need to have it out there. They've had those flags up for 3 years, 4 years. Okay, but I saw the interviews where they said we didn't vote for him to give Elon Musk the ability to fire a whole bunch of veterans. We didn't vote for him, to cut Medicaid. We could barely get an opioid clinic to stay open here. That's not what we voted for. We voted for him to go there and make the government give us stuff so that we're no longer, doing worse than African Americans. Mm-hmm. So I'm starting to see suburban, middle class white Americans. They're starting to get mobilized. Now, if that happens, we stand a chance. We're not all going to agree what we're fighting for, except that we're fighting not to have him be a tyrant, not to have him be Napoleon Bonaparte here. Mm-hmm. And enough white Americans didn't vote to end the democracy. They voted to end the paralysis and the lack of problem solving in Washington. But he's not problem solving. Yeah. He's doing a vengeance tour, and he's doing a power grab to end the democracy. So you are absolutely right.
When we come forward, I've got a question for Connie about the red state analogy that she just offered. I'll hold that for the moment. And there's also this from one of our listeners. If, Connie, this is a militarized power grab, should not Biden have treated them like terrorists and not a political opponent when he still controlled the military, especially since SCOTUS gave him that power before Trump came back to office? We'll put all that to Connie and a bit more when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Generous listening.
Charitable listening.
That's why everybody wants to talk to Tavis. The conversation continues when we come forward.
Progressive knows finding your new home was a dream come true. You wanted a walk-up with central air and a skylight, and you found it. Now, every Friday night, you get to fall asleep to the sound of your downstairs neighbors' dance parties. Progressive can't save you from your noisy neighbors, but we can save you money when you bundle your home and auto with us. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers not available in all states.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well-trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up.
Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone, and should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month. If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
I have a dream today.
The road to freedom wasn't paved with just big moments. It was built day to day, step by step, voice by voice. This February, experience Black History Month through the stories that shape Los Angeles and beyond. KBLA Talk 1580, where Black history lives. Who cares about the Black community in Altadena? We do. On Saturday, March 8th at 10 a.m., it's the premiere of Conversation Live, Altadena Rising with James Farr. This new weekly show will explore the deep roots and resilience of Altadena's Black community as we track its recovery and reimagine its future. From relief efforts to rebuilding, we're raising up voices, stories, and solutions to build back Black Altadena better and stronger than ever. It's Conversation Live, Altadena Rising with James Farr every Saturday at 10 a.m. beginning Saturday, March 8th with an encore presentation Sundays at noon.
James Farr, the man who is the voice for Black Los Angeles.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your Black. Freedom is an endless meeting. So let's get back to it with Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Connie Rice. Connie, I want to go right to this question from one of our listeners because what jumped out at me is there are two words. Actually, three words. Political opponent and terrorist. And here's the question once again. If this is a militarized power grab, should not Biden have treated them like terrorists and not a political opponent when he still controlled the military, especially since SCOTUS gave him that power? Now, I'm not naive. I know where Connie is going to go because I would go there too. We are a nation of laws, and never mind what Trump is doing to just ransack our system of laws. And I get that. There's a distinction in my mind, and this is why this question jumped out at me of all the questions I'm looking at here, between treating them like terrorists and treating them like political opponents. What Democrats did, first Biden, then Kamala, was to treat Donald Trump like a political opponent. But if you listen to what he was saying, that's the language of a terrorist. It was the language of a tyrant. So you can give me the rule of law speech all you want, Connie, and I don't mean you literally. You can give me that speech all you want. But if you listen to what he said, I mean, Democrats did, in fact, keep telling us that he was an existential threat. They did. I'm not sure they called him a tyrant. I'm not sure they called him a terrorist, but they did get as close as they could by calling him an existential threat. Well, what is that? That's terrorist talk. That's tyrant talk. And here we are now talking about tyranny, but now he's in office already. So what about the fact that we treated him like a political opponent when what he was saying was far more than the language of a political opponent, but we did nothing about it. We stood down under the aegis of the rule of law, and now we're fighting back against tyranny.
It wasn't the rule of law that was the problem, because there was a way to fight him as a slash and burn. I don't use the word terrorist because it's a trap.
I got it.
But to your point, you don't need to label him to understand the threat. They didn't respond to the threat. They had language, but they didn't have the tactics and the strategies that could have shut him down. If you understand that the man is an existential threat to the constitutional order, and that if he gets in power again, you don't wait 4 years to start investigating. And he fomented an insurrection. We failed to make him account for that because the Justice Department moved too slowly under the Democrats.
That's right.
You don't look at Trump and think John McCain. Okay, he is. If you have someone who's a threat, you have to outfox them. You have to outmaneuver them. You have to corral them and contain them. Most of all, we let the lie machine and the media landscape shift so badly to the lie-area alternative reality. Everything's a lie, to the point where you actually change people's ability to hear the truth. They let the media landscape and the media terrain, they ceded that to folks who have wired it for Putin-level misinformation. It's not misinformation. It's disinformation and toxic lies that threaten not just democracy but other people's lives. So when you're dealing with someone if you're dealing with an arsonist and a bomb thrower and someone who plants IEDs, you don't invite them to tea. You don't vote for their nominees. You understand that your job is to use the tools that you have to cordon them off and make sure they can't get to the point we've let them get to. So the Democrats are playing Mother May I. The Republicans are playing Smash Face. and the Democrats are still talking about, well, you sent me, I love Kamala Harris, but if she's at an image award, let's talk right there. Well, when are we going to start paying so much attention to celebrities' egos? We're in a war right now. And she gets up and makes a speech about gathering shadows. No, that's like telling somebody who's in 5 feet of Hurricane Katrina water that there's rain coming. No, the storm started with Reagan.
No.
And so to your point, the Democrats aren't just tepid; they were criminally inactive.
Yeah.
And to this day, I love some of our leaders. I love Hakeem Jeffries, but he's on TV talking about policy coins. Stop bringing briefing books to a knife fight.
I love Connie Rice. She knows how to turn a phrase. Stop bringing briefing books to a knife fight. And we're playing Mother May I, and they're playing Smash Face. And I haven't had a chance to get to it this week, but Connie's not the first person. I've heard so many people disappointed in Kamala's speech at the Image Awards, talking about shadows gathering, and didn't make any reference, didn't get to Al Tadena, and it was bankrupt in a lot of ways. I've heard a lot of people express that to me. She didn't get it when she ran, and she still doesn't get it, because if you think the shadows are gathering versus what we're already inside of, then once again, you're misreading it, Kamala, with all due respect. Our remaining moments of Connie Rice when we come forward.
Why does Tavis say, when we come forward?
Because he's not going back.
And you don't have to go back either. Forward ever, backward never. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
Robinhood Gold members can now enjoy the VIP treatment, receiving a 3% IRA match on annual retirement contributions. With Robinhood Gold, the perks of the high net worth are now available for any net worth. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. To receive a 3% boost on annual IRA contributions, sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold $5 a month for 1 year from first match. Must keep funds in IRA for 5 years. Go to Robinhood.com/boost. Robinhood Financial LLC member SIPC. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found BenefitsCheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. BenefitsCheckup.org.
You know where you want to go in life, and City National Bank can help. City National knows the dedication it takes to build your vision for the future into a reality, and our team is here for you. We have a wide range of options to help, from personal savings accounts to interest-bearing money market savings accounts and more, all designed to help you get where you want to go. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Learn more at cnb.com. City National Bank is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada. Member FDIC.
I have a dream today.
The road to freedom wasn't paved with just big moments. It was built day to day, step by step, voice by voice. This February, experience Black History Month through the stories that shape Los Angeles and beyond. KBLA Talk 1580, where Black history lives.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Nia.
Hi, Nia. It's Jennifer. Did you know that Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Yeah, I work here.
Okay. I was just double checking. Get it?
Because Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Oh, you get me, Nia.
You could say that I double get you.
I guess we've taken it too far.
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
Sometimes he fails at fitting in, but we're okay with that. You're inside the Tavis Smiley Show.
Oh, Tavis Smiley and Connie Rice. Connie, you got folk talking today. Here's another comment that that I find fascinating and funny, but there's truth all in it. Tavis, this is what they do when they perceive people as threats. Just look back to 1963, 1965, 1968. This is what they do. They do the oops, and then they release documents 50 plus years later, but they neutralize the perceived threat in real time. You will never out evil, Connie Rice.
I agree with that. But it doesn't tell you exactly what strategy you need to do at what point and in which arena. This is about, you've got a battlefield, and there are several battlefields. So I'm moving to the possibility of the end being another civil war. That's not what I see in the crystal ball right now. But we're in a frame that ain't too far from that. Okay. And I know people don't want to think about it. They're planning cruises and they're going on with their lives and thinking, well, look, it's not going to go that far. I'm preparing for the possibility it may go that far. I also don't think it's going to go that far. I think that there's going to be more blowback than they're anticipating. They're hoping there won't be a reaction. I think there's going to be a reaction, and not just from folks like us, Tavis. But if that doesn't happen, you got to be ready to move to the next frame. You can't negotiate with folks who have no goodwill. You can have someone who's an opponent, has a completely different idea about how markets ought to, and doesn't want the welfare, regime, but they want the taxes used into those are policy debates.
Yeah.
But when someone has said, we're going back to a time when you weren't even viewed as human, when second-class citizen was okay, when your grandparents had to leave Alabama and go to Cleveland. We want to go back to that America where we're free to be on top of the pyramid, even though everybody else is actually more qualified than we are. We want to go back to the time when we were in control. And you can't go along with that.
I got a tight 30 seconds here. To your earlier point, and I've been noodling this myself, it may very well be that what saves us are the folk in the red states. The same folk that got us in this mess may be the ones who save us when they've had enough, Connie.
That's what I'm saying. If white America doesn't stand up, there's not much that African Americans can do if the whole country wants to go this way. Right now, that's not the case. Nobody said in the democracy, okay? They just didn't want the regular politicians.
Ain't nobody like her, and you see why I love her so. Connie Rice, we'll talk again soon. Take care.
You take care, too.
Good to have you on. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
KBLA.
FBI arrested Seth Andrea Gregory, who was planning a mass casualty attack on police officers in Corpus Christi, Texas. Gregory's plan was similar to a 2016 Dallas attack